Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design, with additional support from Feast, connecting local farmers, artisan food producers, and consumers, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.
Hi, I'm Kathy Philauer from the Orchid Station, and this is Meet the Farmer TV, and I am a farmer.
On this episode of Meet the Farmer TV, we'll take a look at the Charlottesville City Market. We'll see why people love to participate, and we'll also look at some of the challenges that face the vendors. And then we'll go and check out the Charlottesville Cooking School and a special book, Cooking Fresh from the Mid-Atlantic. So let's get started with a look at the Charlottesville City Market. We'll talk to some of the vendors and find out why the market's important to them.
Well, we're a family-oriented, family-run wholesale orchid nursery. We're in northern Albemarle County. Most of our product is sold in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, although we do sell locally here at the farmers market and a few outlets in Charlottesville. Farmers markets have been very good to us, and a willingness to take the plants outside and have them in the open has been very useful. There are some orchid growers who are fairly protective of their plants, but I've always been willing to take it outside. And that's good. Also, keeping our prices low. We've tried very hard to stay within the wholesale model, and farmers markets are a place where we can sell plants that are not quite perfect. For example, this one is missing a bud right there, but at a farmer's market it'll sell beautifully, and I can keep the prices really low, and everybody's happy.
My name's John Coles. The name of our farm is Satterfield Dairy Goats. And I'm a member of VICFA, which is the Virginia Independent Consumers and Farmers Association. The thing that is important about the small farm situation is that we, being small farmers, aren't part of agribusiness. And we would like to have a venue where we can sell, and the farmers market is perfect for that. A lot of people aren't satisfied with what they buy at the supermarket, so they'd like to buy from the farmer they trust. I grow what I have here on my stand, and I bring it here and I sell it to you, the final consumer. So this is what we call relationship marketing. And whereas when you go to a supermarket, you don't know where that food came from. It's very important that we get the message across that small farmers are not big farmers. They shouldn't be under the same regulatory scheme as the big farmers.
I'm a dahlia grower. I grow nothing but dahlias. And that's a very interesting plant because it came from this continent. This plant was found by the time that Columbus came to this continent, the Spaniards found this plant growing along the hills of Guatemala and the western hills of Mexico. And it was taken back to Europe and distributed throughout Europe. It was taken back to Madrid at least and distributed from Madrid. And the French were having a disease in our potatoes at that time. So the French ate the tuber. The indigenous people ate the tuber. And the tuber was used as a food source. So that's the importance of this flower. It was hybridized by a young botanist by the name of Andreas Dahl, D-A-H-L, from Brussels. This guy was about 38 years old when he cross-pollinated these things, and they came back as this huge, beautiful plants and flowers. And that's some of the most important things about the dahlia. I'm a native of Charlottesville.
My name is Jackie Fields. I'm from London, England. Came over here in 1980, and I just love and adore America. We are here in Charlottesville's lovely farmers market. This year we're very fortunate to be able to go April through December, including our Christmas market in one spot, so everybody knows where we are and how to find all their favourite people. Great friends, acquaintances from here from the market, so great place to live and be. I'm a herbalist. Since I was a little girl, my mother and father taught me everything I know, and I'm still learning, of course, because now I'm into Native American plants and their uses. So it's always exciting. And I've been growing all the plants my mother and father grew and that I learned over here. And then I make things. I make oils and ointments and lotions and soap. And every year I discover more and more things, and I just love to garden. And I hope I make everybody happy by having plants from me in their garden. The benefits of shopping at your local market are you buy the best food products, the best flower and plant products, meat, cheese, eggs, furniture, birdhouses, you name it. We have everything that you need. Please come on down to Charlottesville's local market every Saturday through the end of December.
I'm Scott Meinig. Our company is Family Ties and Pies. It's our family business we've been doing about 4 years, selling at the market. We do scones and pies and fruit tarts and breakfast crescents. This was actually an idea that was forced on me. My daughter wanted to make something for the Charlottesville market. My son wanted to make money. My wife is the doer and she was going to put it together. I thought it would last about half an hour. This is our 4th season doing it, and it's really made a big impact on our family in so many ways, and it's a great place to come see everybody you've ever met in Charlottesville.
You've seen Meet the Farmer TV, and what did you think? I've been on it. At the city market meeting, yes. I think it's a great show. I think promoting local business is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm all for it. I want to get it in the school system so kids are learning business at a local level.
I'm Michael Bertoni from Appalachia Star Farm, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV. We're a diversified biological farm on 5 acres, going to markets, and we have a CSA as well, subscription vegetables. It's been good. It's our biggest market. We do 3 markets. We're in Lexington, Virginia, and Nelly's Ford. Charlottesville and Lexington are actually become comparable now, so Lexington's doing really well for us too. And but it's been good for us. It's good to be out. With just the CSA, it gives you a face in the community. The market does. Well, I do love what I do. I can't say it's not challenging quite often. It's hard to imagine doing anything else, and I know if I didn't do it, I would miss it. But I do like what I do. I feel good about what I do. There's never a question. With other jobs I've had, it's always, I think, what am I really doing, spending my time? But I never have that problem here. And yeah, I mean, growing good, healthy food, there's not ever any question about whether that's worthwhile or not. We direct market everything. That's a big key, not having any kind of middleman. And we're here every Saturday in Charlottesville.
It's really important to just have a professional image. I mean, we're in business, and we want to represent ourselves like we know what we're doing, and we're a professional business. And so everything we do, all our media, all our signs and images, from our logo to our plant signs to our vegetable signs, all that has to be, up to par, just really tight. So we spend a lot of time, with our marketing. We do everything we grow, we sell retail, right to the customer. It's all direct through different farmers markets and our CSA. And we just try to present a really professional image, high quality plant material, high quality vegetables, all locally grown.
So now that we've heard why the market is so important to so many local farmers, let's take a look at what challenges might exist.
It's a good day. The weather was slightly challenging with the wind.
How'd you do today? I know the weather wasn't great.
It was raining, but people still came out. All those gardeners are a hardy bunch, and everybody's excited in the early spring to really get out there and get in the garden. So all these early season greens, these transplants, lettuces, everybody wants to plant them. So we still had a nice busy market today. It was great.
Climate control is a big one. It costs a lot of money to keep plastic houses warm all winter long, and we cool them. We have air conditioners running in one of the houses in the middle of the summertime, so Virginia summers are pretty hot, and we're trying to keep these orchids cool. So it costs a lot of money to keep the climate just right for the orchids. If we had a house that we lived in that was big enough to hold the thousands of orchids that we had, that'd be fine, because they do fine as a house plant. But greenhouses tend to get too hot for orchids, and of course they get too cold if you don't heat them. So that's our primary difficulty. One of the resources that the community and the state has to offer that we've used fairly frequently is the extension office. We've run across various growing problems or greenhouse problems that we've had solved by our extension office and Virginia Tech. We've sent away leaves to Virginia Tech, and they've been able to help diagnose what a problem is, having to do with some trace element that's missing in our medium, or something that we have to add to the copper or something to the water. So we've taken advantage of our extension office fairly frequently.
Now, there are certain things that state regulation does not allow us to sell, like, for instance, goat cheese. And so I can legally give it away. And I do accept donations, not for the cheese, but the donations are for lobbying and for court costs. And believe me, over the last 30 years, we've had a lot of expenses on both of these. So there's ways of getting around it so that the public can get the food that they want. This is something that's kind of hard for the establishment to accept. So it's a good fight, and it's going on. One of the things that is very important coming up are 4 bills that are going through Congress that are going to really hurt small farmers. And on the 21st of this month of April, we're having Farm Food Voices D.C., and we're going to meet in Congress, and a lot of us farmers are going to bring food, and let the senators and the congressmen see what real food is like. We had a meeting last Wednesday with Tom Perriello regarding the small farm issue, or the local food issue, and it was a good meeting, I felt. We got across a lot of points, and Tom Perriello seems like a very open person who wants to learn, and we felt that he was very responsive to our needs.
Today is, I believe, the 11th of April. It's our second Saturday in the beginning of the season, and I did a little bit better today than I did last week, and it is a very social event. Anyone comes to our local market to be seen, heard, drink, eat, and have a great time.
So we've heard from a number of vendors of why the market is so important to them. What difficulties might they face, besides getting up early in the morning and facing rain and wind? What other government regulations or rules or other difficulties they might face? Let's find out.
It started out, it was a bill of necessity, really, because in 1993 they passed this law that stated that a food establishment had to be inspected. And since 1993, it's gradually been broadened to include the home. And when that happened, anyone who was selling at a farmer's market, baked goods, breads, candies, anything like that, they couldn't sell it unless they had their home inspected. People just quit. They said, well, I don't need this. I make a couple $100 maybe on the weekend. And the question actually went to court whether a home was a food manufacturing plant. And darn if the Supreme Court of Virginia didn't rule that it was. So after, I guess it was, 1993, they didn't really start enforcing it until 97. So after about 10 years and having been to court and so on, the situation was so intolerable that we approached Senator Creed Deeds and asked him to please sponsor the bill for us. So we put it in, and it started out as any farm-produced food products. And it got reduced to baked goods, candies, jams, and jellies. And they wouldn't let us have pickles. So that's what we ended up with. But we figure that's a step in the right direction. We're particularly happy with the labeling because it says not for resale, processed and prepared without state inspection. And you can only sell the person's going to eat it, obviously the not for resale. And this promotes accountability, it promotes the local, and the fact that you're buying from someone you know, as opposed to all of the agribusiness. And it also, you have this problem with the tomatoes now, and they still don't know what causes the salmonella, where it came from, and so on. If you did have salmonella on the tomato, you know right where it came from. You can go to that guy and say, hey, you know, I got sick. I've had the tomato tested with salmonella on it, you know. And besides, the chances of it are so remote. They really are. It's just not a history of someone going to a farmer's market and buying a tomato or buying a candy or a jam or jelly or a baked good and having any problem. And so this is so much going to help the buy local people. Now the law is effective July 1st, and we're just dying to see people start to come out of the woodwork again and have their labels on it. And we really hope it's going to work. We hope down the road we can have pickles and maybe other items as we find out that there's no problem. In the end, the bill passed unanimously both houses. So we're going to wait and see how it opens up things, but certainly we finally got a niche in there that we can have something that says there's a difference between buying food from your next door neighbor with respect to regulation and buying food at the supermarket. And this bill cuts to the heart of that, I think, and that's why we're so excited about it, mainly because of what that label says, not for resale. It's not a resale thing. And that ties in to the local, buying locally and promoting the local. That here is a niche, because there comes a point when you have so much regulation, and they apply to everybody. Across the board, you have so much regulation, it actually makes it more unhealthy because you're stopping the little people who really know how to produce the good food, and you're stopping people from buying it from them. You can get more information, particularly we have Virginia Independent Consumers and Farmers Association, which is a lobbying group that really worked hard on this bill and is for local buying directly farmer to consumer. And the information on their website is at vicfa.net, VICFA.net. And more of these grassroots organizations are growing up, which is really good. And actually we have some organizations nationally. I think there are a number of states now that have what they call NICFA, which is the Independent Consumers and Farmers Association national. I forget exactly how many states, but there's I think it's about a third of them now that we're getting other chapters. So maybe in the end we'll be able to get something if enough people band together and work towards this. So that's one of the reasons we're so happy that it did get through, although we still want those pickles on there.
It can be something as simple as the date you processed it. I mean, you can just write 03/17/09. And, you know, as long as you keep a logbook and you know on that date you produced such and such product and took it to such and such. You know, I know with a farmer's market you can only trace it so far because you don't know each and individual person that's purchasing your product. But then they could, if they needed to, maybe make an announcement on the local news, you know, if you purchase such and such product at the farmer's market, you know, that they would be able to warn them maybe if there was an issue with the glass containers or perhaps maybe used an ingredient that had been recalled in your product. A product code plan is required for acidified foods. This is an information request sheet for a food processing operation, and they also, along with 2 copies, just basically your name, address, list of all your products that you want to produce, your water supply, sewage disposal. If you have public water, no sampling is required. Step 2, coming into compliance. After we've received your packet, we'll review it. It'll be sent to the food safety inspector in your area. Say it's me. I'll give you a call, say I got your packet. When's a good time for me to come out to your house? And we'll set up a time that's convenient for both of us. And then I'll come out to your house and we'll review the packet and I'll take a look at your processing area. You know, if you have any questions at that time, answer those. Maybe if there was an issue with the label, we'll go over that and see if we can't get everything straightened out at that time. So you're ready to process and get to the farmer's market. I know everybody's calling us right now because they want you to be they want to be ready to sell at the farmers market. So now's a really, really busy time. Everybody's getting excited now that spring's here. Some of the things we look at are overall sanitation. And just to let everybody know, I know there's a big misconception that we don't allow pets. That's not true. We allow pets. We just ask that you use some common sense. We had one processor, and I love their product, and I buy it, and we just took some routine samples, came up positive for hair. And the lady couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Eventually, traced it back. It was one of the employees that she had was coming to work and wasn't changing her clothes after she'd, worked with her animals, and so she was bringing the hair on her clothing to the processing area. So just be aware, that these are just some things that you just need to, if you just kind of think about it and just try to do every precaution you can. We just ask that you just keep them out of the area while you're processing.
The city actually had volunteers count the number of visitors that came to the market on one Saturday. Over 4,400 people visited the Charlottesville City Market Saturday morning. Good reason for the market to run all the way from April to December. So now that we've seen something about the Charlottesville City Market on Saturday, there's also a market, Farmers in the Park, that happens on Wednesday at Mead Park, right where the new swimming pool is. We also have some other local markets. On Tuesday afternoon, 4 to 7 at Forest Lakes, there's a great market, and a market in Earlysville Thursday afternoon at All Goods Groceries. So we've seen why vendors love to participate in the market. We've seen how they face the challenges of being at a farmer's market, whether it's rain, wind, or sun. Now let's take a look at a Charlottesville cooking school and a special book, Cooking Fresh from the Mid-Atlantic. And now, Martha, tell us about the Charlottesville Cooking School.
Thank you, Michael. So we are here at the Charlottesville Cooking School, which I started almost 1 year ago, and it's during the Virginia Festival of the Book, and we've just concluded a panel on the flavor of local. And we've had a full house, and we're here to talk about a book project that I was part of called Cooking Fresh from the Mid-Atlantic. And I wrote, for each season in that book, I wrote what's in season with vegetables, what's in season and what's a really easy way to cook with them. So lots of delicious fresh recipes that my students tell me they use on a daily basis. And this has been a really successful panel. People are really interested in local agriculture in Charlottesville and in supporting their local farmers and buying products like goat cheese and honey and wine. So it was wonderful to see the turnout and to answer some of people's questions. And one thing people have a lot of questions about is flavor. People are very interested in flavor. And from a cooking teacher's point of view, I think I'm always surprised when people will taste things and they'll look at me and say, well, does this taste good? And I'll say, that's really up to you. I want you to taste it, and then I want you to sprinkle a little salt on it and see whether you like it better or whether you liked it the first time. And I always tell people it's important to figure out what you think tastes good. And the reason to support your local farmer and to buy vegetables in season is they're going to taste a lot better than if you buy something that's been imported from another country. So whether you're interested in local agriculture or not, if you just like to eat well, it's important to buy what's fresh and what's local in your area.
Thank you, Martha. Now let's go to Megan and find out how Roundabout Farm participates in this project.
Thank you, Michael. So we're here today to talk about the importance of buying food that's produced within your own community. And for me, that community is Charlottesville, and I feel very committed to producing great food from our lands and feeding our family and friends here in Charlottesville. It's been a long journey for me to leave Charlottesville and come back, and the whole time I was gone, I dreamed about the day that I could come back again here to Charlottesville. And through our farm, we're able to feed a lot of kids and adults, and it's important to us to do so in a sustainable way that is doing great things for the environment and impacting the environment in a positive way rather than a negative way. So we get to feed lots of people and also impact the environment positively. Yeah, and one way that people can have a direct relationship with a farmer is to be a part of a CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture. That way you know exactly where your food is coming from, and you start to learn the trials that go into producing the food and what it really means to grow the food that you eat every day. It's a great way for kids to connect with food and for grown-ups to connect with their food, and it's a way that you can keep your food dollars within your own community, supporting small businesses as well as protecting open land and agricultural spaces. Through keeping your food dollars local, you're keeping jobs in the community. Our farm itself employs a few people, and I know a lot of the other farms in the area also employ people. They're not just run by family members. So when you're keeping your food dollars right here in the Charlottesville community, that money then in turn goes to paying salaries for people, supporting families, and then the people who are paid salaries from the farms can then shop and turn around and put that money right back into the community again.
Now, Fran, tell us about the book, Cooking Fresh from the Mid-Atlantic.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. One of the things that we're doing in our community up in central New Jersey is that we are bringing together the buyers in our community with the local farmers. We have the institutional buyers, such as Princeton University and some of the other schools that are in our town, our local chefs, and our local retailers, because we feel that together, if we work with the farmers, it'll make it easier for them to sell into our market, it'll be fewer trips for them, but also we can sort of help keep an eye on how the pricing is going. I think that farmers oftentimes are very vulnerable. They have a crop that's coming from the field. It's perishable, and they can be taken advantage of on the loading dock. Suddenly, well, I don't want to pay you what I told you I was going to pay you. And that's unfair, and it really hurts the wholesale market for the rest of us who are in this for long-term, for the long-term relationships. So it's been very helpful to bring everyone together, and it's been very interesting to me that with a lot of these chefs and retailers, even though they're very interested in buying local, we had to get it right in their hands. We had to say, here's the address, here's the farmer, call them up. It's okay. They want to do business with you. And so it's been very gratifying to be part of that. And what I find interesting about it is that we're all on the same sort of scale as retailers. We're all small independent retailers. And so even though we're in each other's markets, we often carry overlapping products, such as local organic produce. Now that we've introduced them to all of our farmers, we feel that the scale, our common scale, is what really unites us. And so it's wonderful to be working in cooperation with our local retailers, our other local food retailers, rather than working in competition with them.
So now we visited the Charlottesville City Market. We found out why vendors love to participate and what's so important to them. We've also examined some of the challenges they faced in participating at the market. We found out about a cooking school founded here in Charlottesville and a book, Cooking Fresh from the Mid-Atlantic. A terrific tie together of a local food movement. Once again, food from farm to the plate. Thank you for watching Meet the Farmer TV. For additional information and extended versions of this program, visit our website, www.meetthefarmer.com. They're a little intimidating. Sometimes they'll chase them out. Ducks are so funny, the way they walk, the way they look at you. I mean, they'll come up to you and they'll throw one eye up. Meet the Farmer TV was made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design, with additional support from Feast, connecting local farmers, artisan food producers, and consumers, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.